All right, absolutely hyped to welcome to Eckler's Edge Colts star running back Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan, buddy, how's it going, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling well, Matt. I appreciate you guys taking out the time. It's dope. I actually talked to Austin about this a bit in the off season, so I'm excited that now we finally found the time to get this thing rolling.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. I'm glad we got the time to get you on as well. I'm glad you found the time for us as well. So it's mutual, my friend. Just jumping in. Year three for you, right? This is year three.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious because I know how I feel, and I'll speak on it after I hear your response. But year three, how are you feeling? Do you feel like you've kind of gotten a rhythm as far as the NFL works? Are you getting it under your belt? Like, how have you seen yourself grow into becoming a pro coming into year three?
Number one thing I would say is now I just keep thinking about like the future as far as my routine and my process. So year one, you kind of don't know anything. Year two, you start asking questions and you kind of try to start building routines. But you just kind of start doing stuff. You're like, okay, I'll get a massage here or I'll get this work done here. Year three, you start knowing your body. You're like, okay, I know middle of the season this usually acts up. So in the off season, let me focus on this. Let me do maintenance work on here. So now I'm just like, okay, how can I continue to enhance my recovery process, my prehab process? It's like now I'm starting to think of how can I be able to maintain this for as long as I can. We all want to play the game as long as we
Right.
can. So start thinking about how can I preserve this.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. And then for me, like year three, I felt like that's when you really figure out, like, okay, you know what the NFL is about. You've been around it for a couple years. Going into your third year, it's pretty much the same thing over and over. But now, exactly, how can you critique it? How can you do what works for you that helps you sustain? And then I also would build on top of that is as far as the outside of football stuff too starts to really pick up. You said you're thinking about the future. It's not just for football, but also for other things in a part of your life. Because that's when I feel like endorsements start becoming a real thing because you've had some time to get your name out there, do those things, right? Start setting yourself up with investments, start to build that, that network. So just curious to hear about the extra stuff. Like what do you do on the off day? What's a typical off day for JT?
Number one, in the off day, I wake up in the morning. I'm a big Peloton guy. I know some
Okay.
people are fidgety.
Nice. Just
Okay.
just just rode the Peloton this morning as well. Got that in.
It's actually really nice. And you don't have to do much on there, especially with, how much we do throughout the week. I really like it to flush the body. So I'll do a low impact or I'll do a recovery ride, just to get the blood flowing. So I'm doing something on the off day. I usually
Hmm.
like to get a lift in directly after the game. So on Monday, so Tuesday, complete off day. Love the Peloton in the morning.
Nice.
And then, like you mentioned, it's whatever I have set up that week, whether it's something philanthropic that I want to get done within the community, or whether it's something on a personal level. I know I've been following you for a while now. I mean, shoot, this show right here. I know you stream, so
Yeah.
whatever that may be that I want to start branding outside of football. So that's why I was so hyped to come on here and chop it
Yeah,
up with
man.
you, because I just see how you move outside of football, like not football endorsements, but how you build your brand outside of football. Like I like to game, so starting to think about ways. Okay, should I try to get into the gaming world? Is that something I could see myself doing consistently? Because anything that you do in this world, you got to do it
Yeah.
consistent. But then another thing is, I have a fiance, so I'm engaged. So you have to
Hey,
find time, whether it's,
congrats.
hey, let's go to lunch, let's go to dinner. You
Yeah.
got to find that time.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very true. Very true. JT, man, I mean, that's awesome to hear. Like I said, I got the Peloton ride in this morning. We need sponsorship. Peloton, where the hell are you at this point? We've got one of the best running backs in the NFL talking about Peloton on the show. I wanted to ask you a little bit about transitioning, like Austin said, into year three, just kind of growing into your role as a pro football player, because there was one thing, when you were coming into the league, you didn't catch a lot of passes in college. That wasn't the way you were used as a collegiate player. But folks ask questions like, is that a he wasn't asked to do it or he can't do it type of thing? But man, I mean, you've really grown and developed and shown those skills in the NFL. Was that something that you've kind of worked on throughout the years, or was it just always something that was in your back pocket and you weren't really used that way in college?
Well, definitely in college, it was in my back pocket, and I will say to a certain degree of if they asked me to do it, I definitely could have. But comparing that now to back then, I mean, it's grown so much. Just coming into the NFL and realize watching guys like Austin, watching guys like McCaffrey, watching guys like that make plays consistently through the air as a back. Just being able to watch that tape, James White, and being able to, hey, how can I implement some drills? How can I practice these things throughout the week in order to continue to build that repertoire into my basket? And this past year, actually, just being able to just show the coaches that, hey, if you need me there, I can do it. I can be the guy, whatever you may need me to be, whatever kind of scheme you may need me to fit in, I'm able to do it. And I would definitely say it's actually really fun, especially when you can make plays through the air. You kind of feel like a receiver a little bit, and it kind of makes you feel good.
Heck yeah, man. Look, if you can mold as a running back to any type of scheme or any type of play style, then man, the longevity for yourself, right, is so much greater, right? Just because now you can be used in several different ways. You're not just, one thing, and then you better be the best at that one thing. Because that's how the league works. We need people that can do more. What else can you do? I'm sure you've heard that saying, the more you can do, right? That's going to keep you on the field and, keep you valuable to your team or whatever your team you're on going in the future. So fantasy football podcast, Ekeler's Edge. We talk about fantasy a little bit. Have we tapped into a little bit more? Anything like that? Do you have any teams, any relationship with it? Stay away from it. What's going on in the fantasy world with Jonathan?
So number one, I always love to, your fans, they believe in you. They pick you because they believe in you. So, you always get the, hey, don't worry about the outside noise. And it's not so much of the outside noise, but it's more in particular the Jonathan Taylor fans. You want to do your best for your fans because hey, they could have picked anybody in NFL, but they said, you know what, I'm going with my guy 2-8. So, whenever you have those games where you're like, man, it didn't do as great, you should start thinking about your fans. You're like, man, I let the fans down. That's the biggest thing. Not so much as what, the trolls say, those burner accounts. It's those legit fans who really pick you and say, hey, I think my guy is going to go off. And I'm like, every week I got to try my best to back my fans up.
Look, that's music to my ears. And I know Matt's ears too. Because,
for real, yeah.
Because, man, like a lot of guys, they don't understand the magnitude of fantasy football and how it adds layers of depth to the NFL as far as people watching it and buying into us as players. Because you have, whether you know it or not, you probably do, you have thousands upon thousands of other fans. They're not just Colts fans, but they're Jonathan Taylor fans because you scored them fantasy points, right? And that has so much value that lays within that, right? And so if you just tap in, give them a shout out, say what's up, or you're just not talking to them, just not doing, the little things that you see out there, that hating on them, that it just holds so much value for you as a player throughout your career and, going beyond your career as far as your recognition. It gives you opportunities and options for what you want to do with your life. So it's like, man, like I love that. You're in year 3, man, like keep that attitude about it because that will pay off dividends in the future, man.
It's insane. I didn't realize until last season. I knew people played fantasy. I knew it was a thing. Bets, people play some money or just people doing crazy bets. Hey, you need to stay inside a Waffle House for 24 hours or whatever it may be. I didn't realize how huge it was until last season when, people would say, hey, are you Jonathan Taylor? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're my favorite player. I have you on my fantasy team. So not like, hey, you're my favorite player. I know who you are. Oh, that's the guy who was scoring those points for me on my fantasy team.
Yeah, man. And sheesh, like the NFL would not be as big as it is if it weren't for sports betting and fantasy football. Like people get invested because of that, right? And they're in, right? You see the screaming at the TV. You see the bets that have been placed on this and that. And it's like, man, people are literally and hypothetically invested in football because of that. So yeah, I think it's always a plus for any players that are given a little bit of a love or just aware of that and aware of the value there, man, because for us, that's low hanging fruit. Like we're already going to go out there and play as hard as we can. Right. So indirectly, we're going to be benefiting them at the same time. So why would you not tap into that? That's just like free value sitting there for you. So good stuff, man. Proud of you. Hell yeah.
Hey, and JT, I don't know if you know this, but like talk about investment. You were pretty much by and large the first pick in every fantasy draft this year. Like that, talk about a big time investment. Like I remember talking to Austin in the preseason. He's like, I didn't even know I was going, like 5th overall or something like that. It's like, yeah, you guys are like the best in the game at this point. So not only are people invested in you, they're heavily invested. So then when they see like, it's like Austin says, it just adds that extra value because they see you go out there and you crush it for the Colts and like everything like that. It just adds more value to your fan base, to our enjoyment of the game. So it's pretty awesome, man, that you're so open to it.
Heck yeah,
100%. I mean, because a lot of times people can be, like I said, they can just get caught up. Oh, I stay away from that stuff. Fantasy football doesn't mean anything. And to a degree, it doesn't necessarily affect, whether you guys are winning and losing games, but just for your legacy, you personally, your fan base, the people who tune in to watch Austin Ekeler, to tune in to watch Jonathan Taylor, they want to see you do well. And they're invested. Like you said, they're invested. They're placing bets. They're saying, you know what? I'm taking my guy over your guy any day. So, like, we're already going out there. We want to win, so we're going to play hard. It's just adding extra value. And we love it, too. You want to, show appreciation to your fans. You want to help them out.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I've told Austin this before. I don't have like a favorite team anymore since I've been doing this for like the last 10 years, but I get invested in like the guys I really like the receivers, the running backs and stuff I really like. I'm sitting there on Sunday Night Football, like rooting for the Chargers. I couldn't really, it doesn't really matter, but like Austin's my guy. I want him to do well. I want him to succeed. So yeah, man, it's just all that adding value. Hey man, we do got to ask you a little bit about what's been going on with the Colts this year. A lot of crazy stuff, right? I mean, Jeff Saturday gets hired as the head coach, and it's been going pretty well. Like you win your first game, you take the Eagles down to the wire there. What's the vibe been like there with you and just getting your work done while all this kind of craziness has been going on around you?
Yeah, man. Like you mentioned, it was a jam-packed couple of weeks. Number one thing is we were really intrigued by his passion. I mean, Jeff Saturday, of course, given his history with the Colts, from day one, it's never felt like it was about him coming to the forefront. Hey, I'm going to save and turn this organization around. We're going to win a bunch of games. He genuinely wants the organization to succeed, whether it's from the players to the coaching staff to the equipment staff. I mean, he just wants to do his part to help put the organization in the best position for success because, I mean, he's a cult. He's a cult for life. Like, that's what Jeff Saturday is. So, it's just important to him, but it's also important to us. We want to win games. So it's easy to go and play for a guy that he wants nothing but the organization to succeed. It's not, okay, I need to make sure I come in here and I win a bunch of games so they know that, hey, it was me. It's no, we have a great coaching staff. We have great players. We have great people in the building, in the front office. Let's all work collectively to get to where we want to go. So it's just about how we respond. I thought we responded really well going into Vegas after those crazy couple of weeks. And now, we love to finish that one last Sunday, love to finish it, went down to the wire. We would love to come away with that one. But we need to continue to stack every single week. How are we going to respond every week? Because we know everyone in the world is going to be watching us every week now. How are the Colts going to respond in the second half of the season?
That's deep, man. That's deep on so many levels. Like you could bring that into life. You could bring that into football. Like really what our legacy, what our journey going forward is how we respond to the adversities in our life, man. So could not have said any better, man. Look at this guy. This might be my favorite episode, man. Let's go.
No,
yeah,
man.
Let's go,
I'm so excited
man.
of being here. That's so cool.
Hey man, and like I said, the people out there love seeing you guys chop it up like this together. This is really cool, man. I definitely think too. Just last couple things before we get you out of here, JT. It feels like there's been a big commitment to you through this like Jeff Saturday transition. I mean, these last 2 games for you have been awesome, so that's great to see. But it's Thanksgiving week, man. We got Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. I do think before we get you out of here, man, we got to ask you like, what's your plan for Thanksgiving? What's on your agenda? What's typically on your plate? Any hot food takes you need to drop before we get out of here?
Number one, this is like a crucial week. It's a crucial week because I always plan it out. I'm like, okay, this week I'm planning out my meal. So I know I'm going to have a Thanksgiving plate because I know there's some guys that are like, oh no, I'm sticking to my diet. Well, I'm going to plan. I'm going to plan to make sure that I can have a plate. But number one, I am a huge, huge turkey guy. Just growing up, it's just something that we had in the house every Thanksgiving. But I'm a dark meat kind of guy. And I don't know if
Okay.
it's because my mother is a bit older, so they kind of like that part of the turkey, and it just grew on me. But man, that is like I always need. Hey, I need a slice of turkey. Hey, can I get a piece of the dark meat, please? Like, and they're like, oh
Nice.
wow, you like? I'm like, yes, please. So I'm not sure if that's just how I grew up. As well as cranberry sauce. Those two things are. I need those. I need those. What about you guys?
Any prep specific with the turkey? Like, do you like it in the oven, the smoker, the deep fryer? What's your thoughts there, man?
So usually we have it conventional in the oven, but I actually just spoke to someone today, and they're having like a fried turkey. I've never had that before.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
epic.
kind of want to try that. I mean,
Fried
it doesn't
turkey.
seem conventional, but I kind of want to try that. Just I've never had that before.
I know Matt.
It's pretty epic. No, it's pretty epic, but you got to be careful. You got to have safety. But this year, I'm taking over the turkey for the first time for the family, and I'm big into like my Big Green Egg, the Traeger. Hey, there's another. Look at all these sponsorship opportunities for God's sake. We're name dropping so many brands. I'm big into using those. Like, so I'm gonna be taking over the turkey. So you got to wish me luck, man. I'm pretty nervous but excited, to take over the turkey because, like you said, it's the mainstay. If you mess up the turkey, I mean, day's over.
Yeah.
Good luck. Hey, good luck with that, Matt. I have not had the obligation yet to handle turkey duties in my lifetime yet. So when that day comes, I definitely want to make sure I'm prepared. So best of luck to you for that.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, JT. Austin, what about you? Well, I know we're gonna talk Thanksgiving stuff,
Man,
but what's your take?
For me, I'm not big into the Thanksgiving foods. I get. For me, it's more so like, let's get together, right? So I'm having little Friendsgiving, getting together with some of the guys and their wives. And so that's what it'll be for me. As far as the food, yeah, I'll eat it, but it's not like I'm looking forward to the turkey, to mashed potatoes. It's like, it's all right. It's all right. But like JT was talking about, like, I'm one of those guys, like, I'm stick to my normal diets. But I won't be the guy that's like, oh, I'm not going to eat it because I don't necessarily like it. I'll show up, but it's really for me just to bond, have some good times.
I definitely get that. Another thing is that's kind of what brings people together. Breaking bread over the table. Like you mentioned, you're having a Friendsgiving. I feel like food is one of those things that it just brings people together. It's like everyone, you need it for survival. You need it to live. And whenever you break bread with someone, whether it may be Thanksgiving food or not, even if you just have a cup of coffee with somebody, whenever I break bread with someone, it means a lot because, it's just about life. It's just about
man.
life.
Yeah, man. Look at this guy. Co-host right here. Next year, we're bringing JT
real.
down. Let's go.
Well, can we keep it a 3-man show though? I'm really not trying to get replaced here, brother. So yeah. Hey, maybe we'll do an off-season episode where we all get together and we break some bread there. Hey, JT, really appreciate your time, man. Good luck the rest of the season. You've been crushing it, and I know all your fantasy fans appreciate it. The Colts fans appreciate it, and we here at Ekeler's Edge appreciate you coming on, man.
No, I appreciate you guys so much. This has been awesome. Austin, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll definitely connect again.
For sure.
Whether it be this season and the off season, I definitely want to connect with you some more things outside of football.
No doubt, man.
Stay healthy, man. The best of luck the rest of the way as well. Actually, we'll be seeing you guys in a couple of weeks, so that'll be awesome. Definitely, save that jersey for me. Definitely.
Hey, no doubt. Let's get it done. All right, brother. Have a good one, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
you coming on.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Likewise, brother.
Happy Thanksgiving, JT. Appreciate you.